Okay, the Tillotson HL87A carburetor. Pretty much the same as the 89, and there's several others. A lot of issues with them is usually in the high speed and the low speed jet, and it's because of O-ring in there. So we'll go ahead and pull these out, and you can see the O-ring fell out. There's an O-ring that goes on right there, and usually they're all busted up. This one's got one too. Needles are two different lengths. You've got the high jet's the big one, the low jet's the small one. Of course, you got your idle screw. Impulse is here, and we'll get to this screw here in a minute. So we're going to take this screw out, and this goes to the fuel filter screen. Which really isn't a screen, it's just a piece of copper filter. And then we'll just go ahead and go a little further down in here. Take all 6 of these screws out. And don't try to take the screws out with one of those little screwdrivers. Use a standard size. This one is this size, 1/4. That way it will save the screw heads. Because most of the time they're so tight that you end up breaking the tip off a smaller screwdriver anyway. So we'll take all those screws out. And really, you don't even have to take the filter part off. Just to look in. Okay. So there's the pump, the fuel pump. That's diaphragm and your little check valves. Then you got your gasket. Then we take this off, then we get to the metering side. And there's the metering diaphragm, metering lever setting there. And this screw is the one that holds your metering lever in. Just take it, screw it out. Then you got your metering lever out, you got your spring for your metering lever, and then your needle's right up underneath it. And your impulse is right here. This actually doesn't really go anywhere. And this screw here goes into the I'm gonna go ahead and get my little screwdriver in here so I can get it down in there. I think I sealed this one in with some kind of sealer, but it's a brass screw, and all it does is it goes into here. so it really doesn't do anything. But that is the like the 88 HL. This is 87. She's a little dirty. It come off of my McCullough 1-41. HL87A. But that's the exploded view of it. Now we'll lay everything back in here again. Needle goes there. Spring goes right in this little divot. Then you put your metering lever back on, and you line up that hole, that divot on it, top of the spring. Take your screwdriver, tighten the screw up. Then we get our metering diaphragm, and we'll set it back on. And it's important to line this hole with this hole. Just like that. Then we'll take the gasket and put the gasket back on. And she goes on like this right here. That way it lines up with those two holes there. And make sure that the round end goes, so it makes it all streamlined right there. And we'll tighten the screws up and get them good and snug. Work opposite corners. Well, there's no corners, it's round. But try to put even pressure on it. No, I don't have the camera sped up or anything. That's how fast my fingers work a screwdriver. You make sure when you line this up, you line that hole up right here to where the fuel comes in. Put your screw back in. Preferably not cross-threaded. Then you go to put your needles back in. The short one is the low side, and the long one is the high side. Run them into the seat. and I like to go 2 turns out. So there, that's 1. It's 2 turns out on the high side, and that's 1, and that's 2 turns out on the low side.